in wine, and you didn't pull women from around the world.
Please. That is a really derogatory statement to say. I didn't realize know that.
Yeah, but you know how it goes.
The queen herself, Jancis. I just got candle wax all over my glass.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
All right, guys, so we are officially live because I hear myself speaking in the background. 3:01 too. Yes, I love being on time-ish. Oh, where's my, yes. Let's see here. Okay, we're all set. Welcome, guys, to our 4th official week. I need to get the radio sounds going on. I need to applause for something every time we do this, but 4th week, Filipe is back. He's over here for me. I don't know where he's at for everyone else, but
Over there.
he's over there. And I'm excited. We're here, you know, in the US of A. And I still brought some European backup, because I got a few questions, but I didn't mention to them. This time I pre-programmed this to have some questions for everyone too. But United We Taste, week 4 strong. Thank you guys for tuning in. And for those who've been showing love over the course of a month, I can't believe we've been quarantined for a month and still have our sanity. And people say it's things like this, right? Virtual tastings, Zoom hangouts, and dance parties that they've been tuning into that's been keeping them strong. So we hope we're doing our part. Again, I have some heavy hitters in the room. But first I'm going to start with myself and then my co-founder Filipe, and we'll go around the room. So McCoy, sommelier and experienced expert in gastronomy. Based in Lisbon, Portugal, but currently quarantined in New York City. You can find me at McCoy.com, and all of the details for everyone here is also listed there, as well as the wines that we will have. Filipe?
Yeah, hello everybody. This is Filipe from a small town in Portugal called Agde, in the wine region of Bairrada. So I'm a wine blogger. It's called Vinho e Chima. Sorry, it's in Portuguese. And I'm currently a consultant of a few companies here in my area.
Let's go with Julie.
Hi, I'm Julee Resendez. I am based in Amsterdam. I'm from America originally. Actually, I grew up in a wine family. And I teach at WSET. I have a school here in Amsterdam, and I import wines from America. Actually, some of these wines are mine. So we're going to taste, well, at least the one. Never mind. I don't see.
She's like, whatever, you get it. I'm in Amsterdam. I'm American. That's it.
That's it, yeah.
Tonya?
My name is Tonya Pitts, and I'm the sommelier and wine director at One Market Restaurant here in San Francisco. I have been in the industry for many, many years. I have been at my restaurant for 13 years now. My restaurant is 27 years old. We just turned 27, and I'm so excited to be here amongst my peers from everywhere. So this is really, really awesome. I hope everyone enjoys their day with us.
Thanks, Tonya. And Jodi?
Let's see. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Jodi Bronchtein. I am a sommelier at Press here in Napa Valley. I've also worked in Boston, Charleston, and most recently before California, Fiji. I'm very excited to be here. I met Cha at the Nantucket Wine and Food Festival, which is one of my favorite places to go out of the year. And I'm super glad and excited to be representing beautiful California right now. Nice to be here.
Yeah, Jodi and I, we was all geared up to be back in May, working, slinging wine together.
Can you hear me?
Say it again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. Did you hear everything I just said or not?
Yeah, we heard you.
Okay, great, perfect. All right, great.
By the way, this has nothing to do with the internet. This is how Jodi is in real life. Can you hear me? Can you hear me though? And Jen, go ahead, finish us up with the California trio we have here.
Yeah, excited the California crew. My name is Jen Reichardt. I'm the owner and winemaker of Raft Wines here in Sonoma County. I make 10 different wines from all over the state. And so I'm excited to talk about the lovely land of California.
Exciting. So we're even here. We have 3 people based in California and then the rest of us, you know, between Portugal, New York, and Amsterdam. So we're going to get right into it. Ladies, you can go ahead and start talking about the industry right now, the state of California. I have family in California, so I get some information. They're actually, I didn't realize, Jen, they're near you. They're in Yuba City.
That's not too far.
Yeah, so that's much closer to you than, I mean, I've driven down to San Francisco from there, but I didn't realize how close Yuba City was to, my brother had to help me. But I mean, we looked at the map when I was like, okay, let me see where these wines is coming from specifically in which sub-region, so in Brut. But tell me, how is it, like, what laws have changed or restrictions, whether it's the restaurant industry with the 2 sommeliers or even with wine producing, because we just had South Africa on last week. They got the 21-day lockdown. I think today they're at day 16, day 15. So where they couldn't even have producers go out to tend to the vines during harvest, and thank God that changed. So what is like during quarantine right now in California?
It's complicated, I think, but that's probably true for everybody around the world. I bottled some wines 2 weeks ago. So in the middle of our shelter in place, and our winery, I make my wine in a custom crush facility. So there's about 40 different brands made there. And they decided after I bottled on a Tuesday, they had a bottling on a Wednesday with some other producers, and then they shut down the winery for 2 weeks just to kind of press pause, make sure that everyone working there was healthy, you know, try not to stress people out. And so they decided this past week to reopen because it's like the wheels kind of need to keep moving in production. And so at least on the production side, it's been deemed an essential job for now. So nothing drastically has changed. I do know some producer friends who aren't working right now. Their wineries are trying to save funds, and so they've been furloughed or kind of they're waiting to see what's going to happen. So that's a little scary, but on the production side, at least we can keep moving. So Chai, you're on.
I said, how's the vines going though? Are you spending much time?
Some areas are in bud break. Some have significant shoots on them. Nothing's flowering just yet. So that's the good news. You know, it's still, it looks really bright outside, but it's a pretty gray day again today in Sonoma County at least. So, you know, we're a little nervous about like spring rains and all that, but all the pruning's done, things are starting to move. At this point, as far as production goes, I'm hoping that harvest can be delayed. You know, we've had this really cold spring, and so the later it is, the further away it is from all of this, I think the producers will be better for it. You know, a lot of us sell direct to consumer, but a lot of us sell to restaurants as well. My split is about 60% wholesale to restaurants. So I'm seeing, you know, big decline in my sales as I kind of try to pivot my whole world to e-commerce. So the further away that harvest is, the more money I can have in the bank to hopefully pay for harvest. You know, it's just kind of that like cyclical thing. You know, the longer this goes on, the less money that we can have coming in and the less money we have on 6 months later. So it's a kind of scary thing. So I'm hoping that cold spring means further away harvest.
I didn't think about that, but it makes sense that I guess it's probably the first time you hoping for a cold spring, but
yeah, it's like cold enough. Like I don't want frost, I don't want late rains when it starts, you know, flowering and stuff. But if it can just kind of push it back. We've had, you know, every year it seems like harvest is getting earlier and earlier and earlier. I always start picking in August. It's really nice to pick in September.
Tonya and Jodi? What is
Well,
Can I ask a question first
Go
for
ahead.
Jen? So Jen,
Yeah.
is there a way, do you ship direct to consumers? So if I had friends and families all over like California and Washington and Oregon and Virginia and stuff, and they wanted some wine and to support, could you put your information out so that we can connect them to you so they can buy wines from you?
Yeah, so I can ship to 40 states.
Okay.
They're listed on my website. It's just drink.raft.wine, or you can go to raftwines.com. And then I have a shop page on there. And at the top of the shop page, it says, I won't list all the 40 states, but it says the 40 states that I can ship to.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Just to help
Yeah,
figure out
and-
who can help.
Thanks.
Tonya, why don't you go ahead and go, because San Francisco is a huge market right now and you've got a lot going on down there.
So in San Francisco, we did shelter in place, gosh, probably the third week in March. And there was basically restaurants and bars had to shut down. Not everyone has taken the option, which they've been given to go and take away only. And I think depending upon the type of restaurant, whether you were a mom and pop, fast casual, mid-range, or high-end restaurants, it just has not been feasible for everyone to do so. There are a few that are in the city that I think as of probably Sunday and Monday that are higher end restaurants are actually going to do to-go menu and kind of family meals, which is great to be able to do that and support, especially if it's restaurants that you really hadn't had a chance to go to. But it's rough, because most of us are temporarily, laid off. And so finding things like what we're doing to keep ourselves fresh and bright, and to also try and support those that are still working and trying to work and trying to make a living and trying to support their staffs and their businesses. It's a lot. It really, really is, but we'll get through this. We will. Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing here in Napa. I think we started, I think the last service we had was on March 17th, and at Press we all got furloughed, and everything sort of happened at one time. And then it's kind of a unique place to be because the wineries as well were shut, and that's the tourism for the wineries is what kind of drives restaurant traffic, as we all know. And so a lot of restaurants are doing takeout, and it's been very interesting to see a place where, kind of a destination restaurant try to pivot to like doing drive-through lunches with like laminated signs in the parking lot and gloves. But it's kind of working right now as best as it can. And to watch kind of fine dining managers sort of make it happen is really great. We've had some winemakers donate wine to the restaurant so that if you tip a certain amount, you get a free bottle of wine, which is beautiful marketing, but also it's really lovely to do that. And then all the tips are going to the restaurant staff. They're saying, I think Gavin Newsom, I received something yesterday now, the shelter in place is until I think it's May 7th, I believe. And so everybody's just watching and waiting and like studying and doing the best they can and trying not to go crazy and reading all those books that you've had lined up for 3 years.
I have my stack back there. I haven't gotten through very many of them though.
I have a question.
Me either.
I have a question for, can be for Jen or Tonya or Jodi. We are hearing a lot of stories about wineries and hospitality on survival mode. Some wineries giving a lot of discounts on the wines to get the money pumping, the cash flow coming in. Some hospitality even selling their treasures, some premium wines at lower prices just to get some money in.
I'm one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. I have not the whole list, but I have probably about 12 or 15 SKUs, which are actually going to rotate. For many years, I did a program where I had the entire wine list half off in the month of July. I pivoted that program to be a women's month only in July, for all women's wines were half off and featured, which was really wonderful. And instead of doing that particular, even though when all of this happened, we were in Women's Month in March. And I was doing dinners and all sorts of things. And so what we decided to do was to just really look at the market and what our guests really liked as far as wine-wise. And I'm offering those wines at half, and that will rotate. And that's what I'm doing right now. So just a little something, because it's, for us being a really large restaurant and having a huge private dining program, it doesn't make sense for us to try and do a limited menu, some to-go food, because we thought about it. And we thought about it early on when the industry was just starting to kind of, the uptick of things being quiet, which was probably that first week in March, you know, and because we have a lot of business clients that come into my restaurant. And so, you know, we started thinking then, and I think we really just, it's not us, it's not what we do. And so it makes more sense to do wine. And so that's what we're doing.
I have a
What
question.
about, sorry, Julie. Yeah, go on.
So I know that here, what they're doing for some people in the restaurant industry, for some of the distributors or the importers, because we're not, I think we have like one person that's a size, maybe not even the size of Southern, but something like that. But they are delaying asking their restaurant people to pay. They said they're giving them longer terms, because normally it's only 2 weeks. So they're giving them longer terms. Or is that something that you see is happening within your restaurants as well?
Well, I took care of, I know for me, once there was a little bit of a slowdown, I kind of stopped buying except for what I needed, you know, buy the glass if it was for a particular event and I didn't have enough, you know, just trying to kind of piecemeal things. So we took care of bills kind of ahead of time anyway. And from what I know, I don't have that much that's behind at all, you know. From what I know, we pretty much took care of everything within bill wise. I haven't heard that anyone has said that, you know, we can kind of have a little bit of a forbearance. I haven't heard that. Have you heard that at all, Jodi? From purveyors, whether it be wine or on the food side, have you heard that?
Well, you know, I mean, to be quite honest with you, the minute we got furloughed, we don't have right now the wine team, who were the only people that ever deal with anything like that. We're like looking on the internet like, oh, today we're selling some old wines online and through the drive-through. The managers that are left are just kind of they're sort of taking control. I went by there for inventory and they were like, oh, we're doing inventory by hand just to see what's in the cellar. And I had to go online with some somm friends to sort of talk me down. And then you have to remember, it's not my restaurant. You're in charge of the wine, and that's why they hire us to feel things for the wine and to love the wine like children. But at the end of the day, they're not my children. And so they're doing what they need to do. And I have no idea. I'm the one that updates the wine online, and they've taken control of the passwords. And I don't think it's mean. I think what they're trying to do is to make sure that while we're furloughed, we're not working because we're not getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when you love something like that, and when that's in your blood and you wake up because you know it's time for inventory, you got to get those things in. We don't know. I can't tell you whether they've offered any additional like furlough time for billing, because I have no idea. I'm guessing probably because what good would it do to have a heavy hand with payments? Because when this thing is over, you would never sell those wines again. We all know we do that. So it's, and the Valley is very like, I think they would do that, but I don't know. In the spirit of being neighborly, but I haven't heard anything because I'm not in the loop anymore. As you know, someone who's been in the wine program for a year, couldn't tell you. And it's alarming. So I have to talk myself down like, listen, the wine misses you. You miss the wine, but it's a vacation. Let them handle it. Maybe at the end of it, they'll see how important Soms are. So.
Yeah.
You seen the face?
You need the eyes.
Did you see that?
Like it was frozen the whole time,
Yeah.
and then as soon as she gave you the eyes, the whole computer woke back up. Even your computer scared of you. I'm like.
And what about that famous relief bill? Is that coming any money from the administration?
I haven't seen anything yet.
It's funny. I don't know which relief bill you're referring to, but this CARES Act. Look. This is Jodi Zero.
Yeah, I thought that.
No, but my mother said when she went to the supermarket, some lady was talking about how she just got her G. She said she just got her money. I don't know how you become first on the line. I don't know if it's her last name start with the letter A. I don't know what, I don't know how it's being dispersed. Maybe she filed her taxes in January. I have no idea what's the secret formula to getting it sooner. Oh, look,
Yeah.
you think maybe? I don't know.
I
But
know my
for
other
businesses is different than the individual check that you're hearing. So
Yeah.
Filipe, I'm sure in the news in Europe, they say the relief bill, but to be honest, it's probably like 50 relief bills and none of us know when any of them gonna, which one's gonna take action first. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same here. So people talk a lot, but at the end of the day, there's nothing happening.
But I think because they think, oh, America, the big rich country, oh, Americans are gonna be good. They're gonna get all this money. Listen to all these relief bills, but we don't see them.
Printing money.
I got to tell you that from the Dutch perspective, I got something already. They which was really good. They're really organized. So it was really,
Awesome.
it really
Thanks for rubbing it in. Thank you, Julie. Thanks.
The Dutch reputation is not very good at this time in Europe.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, it sounds like Dutch reputation is very good. They're the ones getting their checks.
Yeah, but they just joined the
It's
game
about
now.
California. But yeah.
Oh, seriously though. I forgot I was gonna say something in response to Jodi. I mentioned in one of the other, or maybe another live video I did about how, Soms become indisposable. We don't cook the food. They can operate a full restaurant without a Som, right? And that's you sharing what just happened. Somebody gonna say, yeah, I know about this wine. Let me just start pouring it. They could just go up and start. All they care is about for it to be a restaurant that someone's cooking. And if the owner can't cook, he has to always hire that person first, right? The kitchen staff is going to be first. Anybody that's in the sala, that's on the floor is going to be second. A waiter, they'll probably have their cousins come out and wait to service before they actually bring any value back. But then they'll do that slowly. Wines is a luxury expense to have us out shelling off wines when they just, they're going to say anything. And Tonya's point where she's actually having to sell, it sounds like they're a seller in order to make ends meet there because they're not doing a delivery service. Maybe you had other plans for those wines. And when you're in charge of the program, clearly you're going to come back to almost like a toxic home. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't leave it like this. And now you got to build it all the way back. Uh-oh, here comes Jodi.
Can I say something? I want to
I'm
say
scared.
something.
On the record?
That's the thing though. On the record, I don't ever talk off the record. That's the whole problem is I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. And the good news is you know where you stand right away. So I would like to say this on the record. Beverage drives profit. I'm gonna say it again. Beverage drives profit. Wine drives profit. And wow, did you not? Oh, beverage drives profit. Profit.
Yeah.
The people that know about the beverage are making you the money. They're keeping your lights on. You could do awesome things for food costs, but if you don't know how to do a COGS formula or buy the glass formula, if you don't know if you can't get the feeling for the vibe on the floor to be able to get your staff excited about teaching and learning and selling, then what are you doing? You should have a taco truck. And I love taco trucks. That's not pejorative. But what I'm saying is, especially in Napa, you're in California. this is where it's at. This is where it's at for wine. You know, the program was based on wine first. Press was started by Leslie Rudd to showcase Napa Valley wines. We have all Napa Valley wine. That's it. And a bunch of off-list stuff, but a lot like 70 bottles. So if you're coming here and you're in Napa and you want to get a 1970 bottle of Louis Martini Barbera, I've got it. And it's under $300, but I'm not selling it to you unless we talk about it, and you're going to love that wine. I'm driving profit. And if somebody doesn't think that that's important, literally, it doesn't even hurt my feelings. People feel the same way about pastry chefs. Listen, you know, when you're getting a Cisco pie, I don't want a Cisco pie. I want you to bake the bread. I'm going to pay money for that. The end. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, love it.
No, but totally. I mean, I say the same thing about pastry chefs all the time. So I'm glad you said that. I'm like, pastry chefs need love, like real. So we're going to go to some of these questions I have. We did take a great time, like going to this before we go into actually tasting it. Well, you can have your wines open and drink. We just can't see the bottles right now. Everybody, you see me over here smelling and swirling, please join in. This is official.
It's 9:30, girl. It's time to drink.
It is for you. Yeah.
She already got the candle lights, going on.
I got some
So here's a few questions I have for y'all. And I felt like I wanted to come prepared because I knew the energy of this room, how it's going to be. So I was like, I got some real questions for y'all. And they're just random California questions, right? So let me pick just like a couple. All right. So we had someone say, when we had the South African tasting last week, ABC, which means what?
Anything but Chardonnay.
Anything but Chardonnay.
So anything but Chardonnay, unless it's what? Name the producer that you would like die for Chardonnay. California.
California. Oh, wow. That's a hard one. And if I can take this
Get
one,
out of here, Tonya.
and
Next,
it's like Jodi said, the wines, the cellar, those are our children, those are our babies, and we love our children and we love our babies, and so it's hard to have a favorite. It depends upon the mood, if it's warm outside, if I've got
it's your first day out of quarantine.
All those things. Oh, if it's quarantine,
you just left quarantine. It's your first day.
If I had
first
just
release.
left,
anything but Chardonnay, unless it's.
Oh my God.
Just fill it in blank.
You know why wine is, well, see, the coin. Last week I said white wine is my water, and white wine is my water.
Okay.
So if I had to wake up and have a glass of Chardonnay, and we just got out of quarantine and we're in California, I would love to have an old bottle of Stony Hill Chardonnay.
All right, Stony Hill.
Something from the 90s and early 2000s. And I would be so happy.
Stony Hill.
I may or may not share, sorry.
You can buy that.
It's okay, the bottle's for you.
You can buy those at Press.
Can I come to you?
And you can buy them at Press.
Good. Would you sell me some? I
want to answer.
Yes, go ahead.
Listen, I'll give you some. I'll buy you some. So, because I live in Napa, this is kind of like a snake pit to answer that question. So I'm not answering it.
Ooh, who did that?
That's never happened before.
The train is fast.
I think
that was the Napa Express.
That's funny. It goes much slower than that. So I would like to answer it with not Napa Chardonnay.
Okay.
Because you never gonna watch this, you know what I'm saying? And they'll be like, how come you didn't mention our Chardonnay? So I'm gonna literally lift myself away from that, go directly over the mountain, and I'm gonna talk about, like, I know it's super small production, but that Hirsch Vineyards Chardonnay is beautiful. Leo, like crisp, delicious, Sonoma coolness with rain and green. Sonoma
Okay.
Coast, baby, all day.
All right, so we got
Yeah.
Reichardt, we got Stony Hill. All right, who else ready to jump in? Julie, you looked ready. Tell me your shard.
I'm
Okay.
gonna follow in on that Sonoma Coast. Sorry, because I'm right there. So I worked harvest with both Seritas and Lioco when John Reichardt was the winemaker, and I love those Chardonnays so much. And then also Literai Sonoma Coast Chardonnay is like.
Tell me, say it again. Maybe I don't know this one. Say it
Literai.
again.
That was mine.
Literai. Oh, yeah, both.
We're
Charles
segmenting.
Charles Heights Vineyard, Literai. That's
Yes.
what
Oh, Charles
Yep.
Heights.
Yeah. So I worked in harvest with Ted in 2012 too, and I just
Right.
like love those wines. My husband and I met working for him, so they have a special place in our heart.
yeah.
There
So
we
if I had a second, it'd be Mathiasen.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
We got some amens in here.
Linda
Yeah.
Vista.
yeah. So good, so good.
Filipe, I know you wasn't ready, and I know you rarely get California wine in Portugal. So tell me, which Chardonnay from California, if you made any guess, would you really pick?
No, I can say that last year I was in San Francisco, in Berkeley.
Okay, we'll bring it. He said, well, I did have something.
No, I did have something. I had a nice Chardonnay from Kendall Jackson.
You like to Kendall Jackson.
Yeah.
Their
a big fan,
reserve that they make like tons of it. I am always so impressed. The quality is really high. It's like 90% barrel fermented, and it's huge production, but it's just they take like a big production wine and they really take care of it, and I appreciate that with what they do, for sure.
Mine's was Remy.
Oh yeah.
I wish I had some now, but you know, times is hard.
I actually have some Literai downstairs, but I'm not going to drink it.
Look at that. She said, I'm sitting on mines for after quarantine.
After quarantine wine, I'm gonna open that bottle, walk down the street, and kiss every cute boy on the street and be like,
Yeah, well, hold on. Let me get my. That's why she got the sequence on tonight.
That's right.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna be.
She's like, I don't know who's watching, but her sister's single. All right, I'm glad. I'm gonna say one more question, then we can go straight into our blind tasting portion of this episode. So you kind of already spoke to it. I think Jen led to it about what would you say is the most underrated and or overrated region in California? And if you want to even add to that, if I was Oprah and gave you a blank check and said, Jodi, I want you to start a vineyard tomorrow, where would you go in California? Where would you invest?
Ooh.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Santa Barbara.
For sure. The last couple of years,
Mendocino.
Oregon.
In California, Oregon.
Oregon. No.
Get out of here. That's another episode. This is California love.
I understand that, but I'm just like Oregon. Yeah. I couldn't say, like, honestly, I love where because I'm gonna give it away. I have to think about it.
Okay.
But I can
Let
tell
the
you
California girls, y'all got some obviously some hands-on expertise there to let us know where. Jen, you may have your dream vineyard. So if you had a second check, I was your fairy wine godmother, and I send you a blank check and said you have to start, this vineyard tomorrow. Where's your second one? Where's it going?
I feel like if I could afford anything, like in that Hirschland, the Sonoma Coast, I would love to work up there.
Say it again, the region?
Up like Sonoma Coast, like
Sonoma
near
Coast.
her, like
Frost.
where it's cold and wet and frosty, and we honeymoon in Corsica, which is very different than California, but there's
Yes.
all these like vineyards going into the water, and I'm like, I just want that California somewhere so bad. Oh, hi, puppy dog.
He's always crashing the party whenever you.
The crusher.
Yeah.
It is. I heard it was National Pet Day, so he gets
Yeah.
to join. It's okay. A little love for Huey.
I love it.
Please continue. This is business as usual for us.
Look out
I've been
for those there.
I've been working more and more with the El Dorado AVA, and I love the fruit coming out of there. I make a lot of run varietals, and I just think that there's some really cool stuff getting planted. I worked with a vineyard last year that was in its 4th leaf, so it was the first real production, and we were just astounded by like the chemistry, the numbers, the flavor. Like the wine is just beautiful. It's not yet released. It's a little secret. So I'm excited about that area.
You heard it here first. Not yet released.
Secret project. Woo-hoo.
So that's a whole nother tasting. Promise
Yeah.
promise not to go over 2 hours like last time. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, the last time I brought my wines to Tonya and at one market, it was literally a 2 hour. We had the best time.
That's why I'm in this industry.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Tonya, you got a location yet? We got Sonoma Coast. What's going on? Anybody, some other votes? We got Mendocino from
I went to Mayacamas a couple years ago, and
Yeah.
I love their sites. I mean, because it's so different, because it's sort of like up, and it's all like they have a couple different sites and places. We're on this 4x4s, and we're driving around all the territory, and it's really cool because it's kind of this basin, and it's really warm, but it's. I mean, we got to see all the aftermaths of the fires as well, but I thought that there's some of the fruit that they're coming out of there is really great as well. So I think that would be ideal if I could,
What was the sub-region?
This isn't, what is it? Yeah.
Or the larger region? I don't know.
No, but I forget the sub-region of it.
Do y'all know? Tonya? Jodi?
Amos? I know, I should know this.
We'll look it up.
Veeder. Mount Veeder.
Mount
Mount
Veeder.
Veeder.
Yeah.
Mount Veeder.
Which Mount Veeder is on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
really loved it there.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Mount Veeder. Andy Eric, the winemaker right now. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
See?
And
Jodi's
Eric-
awesome. I love
Jodi-
Andy and Annie.
But then they also
Jodi's like, that was on
Just
her
real
advanced Somm exam.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Mount Veeder.
During premiere, the wine of the whole 3 days of everybody coming and buying baller bottles and bringing them there, and 250 night covers and 12 bottles of wine on a table, legitimately was the 1977 Mount Veeder Chardonnay. The Mount Veeder Mayacamas Chardonnay was such a smoke show. That's my boyfriend. We're in love. And if you ever see it, do whatever you have to do to put that in your mouth. Thank you.
How many boyfriends do you have?
I'm excited by my candlelight.
Just right now, they're all wines. Yeah, they're all wines.
I know.
So
We
we
love that.
we have a,
You
we have
have
a viewer with us. It's Faith, and she says that her favorite Chardonnay is William Sellium from Russian River Valley.
Nice.
I've never had.
So which one?
William, just a moment. William Sellium.
Oh, yeah.
Russian River Valley.
So they probably, there's at least 4 vineyard designates that they produce, and they age really, really well. I've had on the wine list, I've had some from the 80s and the 90s, and of course I have some current release as well, but really, really beautiful, really pretty. Yeah.
Is
they
it a
age really
small
well.
producer?
They have some estate fruit, which is Sellium Estate, but they have and have had relationships with small growers that are their neighbors and in the area for many, many years.
Also in Sonoma too.
Yeah, in Sonoma as well, but just, yeah. It's more readily available now, I think, because they opened up the winery list So now it's more readily available for consumers to buy the wines as well. It used to be that it was collectors and restaurants that had a lot of the wines. A long time ago, I had probably 4 pages of Cellium in the
You
cellar.
mentioned
It
that
was
they
crazy.
age well, the wines. Faith is saying that she loves an oak.
Yeah, it's good. It depends upon the vintage too, because there's some vintages where if it's a warmer vintage, it, I think, has more supple fruit than others.
I like how you said
I'm trying to think what my
Supple.
favorite. I like them all, but it just really depends upon what's in front of me or what the guest is eating as well. I like Allen Vineyard a lot from them, but I like those wines with age. I do, but that's a whole nother story that will probably come out today at some point. I like mature wines too, so.
Okay, well, or, you know what, Tonya, I want you to start. Go ahead,
What?
do your tasting. Go ahead to start. Tell us about
Okay.
you.
All right.
You start, I gotta get some.
Everybody's, she gotta go get water.
I
Let me go get
think-
my spittoon. Let me go.
So I think the only thing you listed for me was my region today, yes?
That's for everybody. That's correct.
Okay, all right.
They know what
So,
color it is. They already know everybody who has red, white, or rosé, because obviously we'll see it. You can see it showed in the glass. But
So for me and my restaurant list for many years was pretty much all domestic wines, more California wines than not over the years. Oregon, Washington, Virginia, just kind of all over the place domestically now. I have a little bit, tiny little smattering of wines from around the world that have their place. But I've always felt that the list was really more comprised of this particular grape more than anything. It's a favorite of mine and a favorite of chefs. The wine list is really very, very chef driven. He and I taste all the time together. If he doesn't have time, I will pick things out from a tasting, bring a winemaker up to the line, we'll pour wines. And once things slow down, he'll start to taste. That's how we
minus
roll.
the
That's for
region.
lunch, that's for dinner.
Yeah.
We always know it's a good day if we start out with champagne by 11.
I
Always.
can compare that's how they do tastings too. I have stood on that kitchen line tasting with chefs.
Yes, you know, but so when I thought about what I wanted to taste, it was difficult because for me, I like to tell a story when I'm on the floor, not just to my guests, but also to my staff. It's a reference point for us because our wine list is a book. It's a storybook. It's the story of vines and people and food, and it's our stories, the stories of the makers of the wine, and the people that are sitting in front of us that are going to enjoy that bottle of wine or that glass of wine. It adds to the story of their life and weaving into their life. So I decided to do something a little different and go with a varietal that we all love and know. And of course, its roots are from a different place, as a lot of other things have been. So what I have in my glass right now is obviously a red wine. It's clean. It's sound. There are more notes of black raspberry, black strawberry. The fruit's a little bit frizzante. There's some earth, there's some mineral. There's even some savory notes as well. But those savory notes are more dried brush that are coming through.
Can you remind us of the region for those who didn't look?
The
Tonya?
region is Sonoma Coast,
Is it?
but there's some warmth that's here from the fruit. It is cool climate, but there are so many aspects of Sonoma Coast. There's what we have now that's kind of Western, which is extreme, which is more near the ocean. There are some ocean breeze within this wine, but it's a combination of cool, or should I say cold, and warm climate, warmth coming through. This is subregion Petaluma Gap. It is not listed on this label at all, but it's coming from the middle of this particular vineyard. And it's just really beautiful and stunning. I actually have I have two wines because I wanted to talk about mature wines as well. So I actually have an 09 and a 2013 that are in front of me.
All right, Tonya, before we hit you, let's see if people have any guess first of the one that are you going to tell us the year of that one you have? The one that
This is the second one that I have now that is a 09.
That's the one we're guessing, the 09?
Well, they're both the same wine, different vintages.
Okay.
The one that I just spoke of was the 2013.
Okay.
That I gave my thoughts on.
2013, Sonoma Coast, red. We got it. Jodi?
Pinot Noir.
You got it right?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yes, girl, all I do is study.
I was like, well, you can't play. Okay, well, for the crowd who don't know who they are, can you tell us what the grape is? Can you give us Jodi, since you won't guess it, because I didn't share
sure.
with you. Because now they're gonna think I done rigged the thing. Now we're not gonna let you go first no more.
No. Okay, so let me tell you why I got there.
Yeah,
so
tell us.
First of all, the reason why I got there is because Petaluma Gap is the newest AVA in Sonoma, right?
Okay, time out. Hold on, I'm taking notes too. I'm here to learn. Petaluma Gap.
It is. It is. But 2 years now?
So Petaluma Gap, last year, maybe 2 years.
2 years.
And it's known for Pinot Noir, and
you're muted.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry.
You're muted again.
Oh, no.
I want to hear what you have to say.
So I would like to point out, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, my boobs were muting me. Sorry, it's true. Yeah, okay. So the Petaluma Gap is in Sonoma, and the only reason, allegedly, that you're supposed to be able to make a new AVA is because it's very different. It has to have something that's different from something else. So Petaluma Gap is different from other regions. We could go into a whole show about that. It's known for Pinot Noir. When she said cool climate, what that means to me is that it's got some good acidity, which means that it's going to cut through richness, and it's good to drink on the palate because it makes you want another sip. But then she also said sunshine, and then she backed that up with the berries that she was talking about. So that, of course, you're going to have sunshine in California, right? So if you have sunshine, you have ripe fruit. But if you have coolness at night, then you have ripe fruit that tastes of sunshine, but also is good for food and cleanses your palate. She also said something very important. She said that it ages well. She liked 2 different ages of it, and that the wine itself was, it had earthy qualities. Now, earthy qualities mean it's herbaceous. There's something in there. There's herbs or there's mushrooms. And Pinot Noir, if you don't give it too much sun and too much oak, will always show those earthy qualities. So that's what made me think of it. So
I wish I had $5 to send you. I think I'm gonna start taking bets on this. Who got money on Jodi? Who got money on Jodi?
Okay, what producer?
I'm gonna make some tips this way. Go ahead, Julie.
So,
What producer?
You show us the label. Yeah, the label.
so it's and it's white. Can you, here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
It is the Notre Vin Clos Madeleine, Pinot Noir, Sonoma Coast 2013. And this is a project from the late Denis Malbec and his wife, Maybrit Malbec. And I met them many years ago, and the wines are always fantastic. He was a third generation winemaker at Chateau Latour in Pauillac. And he and his wife came to the United States to make their own wine, Notre Vin, as well as other projects for other people, Blanquiette, Cap Scandi, just to name a few. And, you know, everyone always talks about his Cabernet, which I love as well. And I thought, at first I wanted to do that and talk about two different vintages because I love all wines, but particularly for me, wines from California that are mature. It just really gives you a sense of the breadth of the region and the depth of the region. And I wanted to show the Pinots that they produce. And they're absolutely gorgeous. And the 09 is even more old world in style. We don't really like to use the word Burgundian in style, but it really is. They're very, very old world wines. The cabs as well. They really are.
Thanks for
So
sharing.
I think 09, very quickly. More blood orange.
You want to know if a Somm love the wine? You hear that afterward?
Yeah.
That's the key. That's it. When you hear that, it's a wrap. For all you distributors out there, like, oh, do you like it? If they go, yeah, it was good. But you didn't hear that. That's it. It didn't pass. Got to read body language in this industry.
Plum skins, the meat of the plums. These are purple plums with creamy skin, almost kind of peachy skin. There's that acidity that you get from fluids that's there on the palate.
Tell me about a pairing, Tonya.
Mushrooms.
California, what we going to eat?
Squab, guinea hen, risotto with mushrooms and black truffle.
Thank you, Tony, for coming out today.
Yeah. And, you know, and I have to say, shout out to Maybrit Malbec, who I think may be watching us today. Love you so much. These wines are so beautiful, always. Oh, and the other thing, because I need to be able to tell people where they can find these wines.
I'm gonna put everything you want to say, but I'm gonna make sure I update the page. So since I left it blank, I'll put what wines we're having.
So these wines and many others can be found at NotreVinWines.com. And they've done this really amazing thing of being able to cellar their wines. And they actually have a sale right now on their library wines. And an incredible, amazing sale. It's 40% off on many of those wines. So go check it out. These wines are on sale. The Howell Mountain Cabs are on sale.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's next?
You can tell I'm happy.
I love it. There is
Yeah.
something to be said for that, like, feeling that you get for wine. I think it's like the most amazing thing that we get to like have this pleasurable experience, like sipping out of a glass, and it like you were transported to another place from your living room by taking a sip of glass, which is so amazing.
Yeah.
It looked like a gospel moment. I don't know. I felt like I was in church. You got your pearls on. It felt like you just had a hallelujah.
It is Easter weekend, so
you know, I'm supposed to know how to make wine.
Sunday is tomorrow, so I'm like, hold on. Sister Tonya's taking us to church. I'm like, I'm for this.
That's my job and I'm sticking to it.
All right, who else? Who else is fired up about their wine? Thanks, Jodi, for guessing it right. Julee from Amsterdam coming to us live with her California wine.
So this wine is really special to me. It brings back it's good memories, and I mean the wine is perfect. It's drinking really well. It's a 2016. It's a red wine. It is from Sonoma as well. I'm not going to be very specific with the AVA because you'll get it right away. Or if you want me to, I can just give it to you.
Jodi's already thinks she's the walking, save it. I'm gonna do the same thing. I ain't saying nothing but.
But I can tell you a little bit about the history first, and maybe it'll get you the area. But let's start with it. Okay, so
let's go with the tasting. Let's see if she can guess from the. If they can guess from the.
Okay.
From the tasting.
So it's a 2016, so it's a little bit medium plus in the intensity, and it's a lot of like. When I first opened it, I was like, "Holy fuck, this is good." It's like red cherries and like bay leaves and thyme and pomegranate and like more ripe strawberries, and it's got like this kind of like dusty like red slate, like that smell that you get from Spain, that kind of like dust kind of smell like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of like there's like a little integration of cedar inside of here. The juice is quite concentrated on the palate. It's like super ripe. It's like ripe cherries, and I always love pomegranates and cherries as describing this particular varietal. But there's like, it's like this kind of like brush of like herbs and a little bit of like volcanicness inside of it. It's like this minerality, and I really want to tell you exactly. There's
let's see. Let's pause here.
Anybody?
Before we go any further, anybody have any guesses at all? I can go through the lineup. 2016 Sonoma Coast. She said ripe cherries.
Oh, Sonoma
thyme.
Coast?
Yeah, it's a Sonoma Coast, but it's this particular AVA within Sonoma.
Ripe strawberries, cedar, and on the palate confirmed cherries, cedar, and strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's the tannin level on the wine?
Tannin.
Medium plus. Medium.
Is it medium? Is it medium bodied?
Medium bodied. Actually, a little bit more than medium bodied. It's a little bit medium plus. It's more medium. It's medium.
Medium plus body.
It's medium bodied.
Medium bodied, medium tannins.
Yeah, but it's very expressive. It's
Okay.
a body. It's extremely expressive.
Right now we're just going for the varietal. So.
Okay. Okay. I have one in my head, but I would like to know.
Jodi, you blocked your.
I have one, but I'm on mute.
Anybody?
No, I have one. Yeah, somebody else go.
Jen or Tonya?
I want to say Pinot Noir again, only because there are some Pinot Noirs that have more of a cherry and pomegranate that come through as well.
Mhm.
My first thought, and because you didn't say savory, and I'm just trying to think. Well, because there is some Syrah that's grown there.
You were right the first time. It's Pinot Noir.
Yeah, because there is some Syrah that's grown there as well, but it depends upon the producer.
So it's from
Say that. Julie, say the AVA that you didn't want to say.
Fort Ross.
Oh, which that's Western, so that's extreme because it's right there. It's on the water.
So who is it?
Hirsch.
Not.
Yeah.
Is it rain? Is it rain?
No,
It's
it's Hirsch.
Is it?
Hirsch.
That's one of my favorites.
Yes, bitches.
Yes. Hirsch is thebomb.com. I think it's one of my
West
first.
Ridge.
Yes.
Yes. Their study in the ridges.
Yes.
West and east.
So basically, if you don't know about David, he's like, honestly, first off, I can tell you some stuff, but you should really listen to Levy Dalton's podcast that he did on him. It's really great. I like to tell my students that I feel like he probably discovered this vineyard because he was like stoned walking around and like, you know, looking for a place to have a pot with him and his friends. He's like an old hippie, and he planted this vine. I think it was 1978, something like that, or something. 1978 was when he planted it. And his friend talked to him. It's like this kind of amphitheater. We went there a couple years ago. So you go up Highway 101 or Highway 101, and then you go a little bit out from the old from Fort Ross, and you go up into this kind of hills, and you drive up there, and it's pretty steep. And so along the way, you pass Peter Michael, and you pass Flowers, and then Hirsch is just like kind of this really debilitated road. You need a 4x4, but we had a sedan, which made it even worse. And you go up this place, and it's beautiful. It's sending this, all these redwoods are kind of like this amphitheater, and then it's kind of, you can see the ocean from a little bit away, and you have like the East Ridge is a little bit cooler, and the West Ridge is a little bit more inland and warm. And so this is where you get that ripeness from. And in this area, there's like a depletion of topsoil. So because there's been so much so much logging and stuff outside of there. So one of the things that they have a hard time with is erosion. So they had to sit there and try to figure out the farming about how to adjust it to the particular area instead of trying to control it according to what the variety might do. And I think they've moved to biodynamic, and this is actually one of the wines that I import into Netherlands. I love the estate. I've loved them for a very long time, and I was really, really honored, honestly, to be able to do this. And the wine is spectacular right now.
It's 2016?
2016. Oh, 20.
Right. Those wines, I remember when
The label again.
they were an experiment to do the single bottlings of the East and the West. And I remember the first time that I tasted them. Talk about going to church.
Yeah.
That was another one of those. Myself and Jasmine Hirsch tasted in the back cellar. It was another one of those, again, Jen, where we were there for like an hour or so. I just shut the door. You know, it was lunch. Nobody needed me. And it just was really, really wonderful.
I actually got into a fight with the buyer because she was disrespectful after we got done with the tasting. And I said, I don't know if you know who the fuck that is.
Uh-oh, here we
Kidding.
go. Jodi, I think you don't match your match.
I said, I don't know if you know who the fuck that is. You better like watch yourself, you know, you better like collect yourself. This person is like doing some really great stuff. And you really need to check yourself. She never bought from me, which I don't care, because I actually would never sell it to her, because I'm like, you don't deserve these wines. So
she didn't understand. She didn't get it.
She didn't get it. She was trying to compare it to Burgundy. I'm like, even Burgundy's different. In every person.
Right.
So yeah, I think they're great.
They are.
For my language.
For your language, Jodi's talking about her damn titties. Come on. Gloves are off. It's funny because those was one at the wine shop. I was like the, random black chick working in a shop 10 years ago. And my boss said, you seem like everything is about Europe, which now 10 years later clearly still makes sense. But they was like, you need to start selling some of these American wines. And he challenged me. That was the wine he challenged me on. I was like, I don't know anything about this wine. I was like, okay, whatever. People like things like Sonoma, so I get it. So it should be easy, but I didn't have it yet. And he said, okay, I think that's the difference. It's because I've never tasted high quality wines from Napa, Sonoma, et cetera. And so then he started opening. This is one of the wines that Julee shared that he opened for me 10 years ago for me to start to give me like a entryway into like even getting a connection to California, since I already had one with Europe that was still so strong then. I'm moving back from Italy. So I will never forget those labels. And even no matter where I'm at, it's kind of like my safe wine when I'm getting tested on American wine. I'm like, yeah, just talk about Hirsch for like 20 minutes. And everybody's like, okay. You passed. You're still American. You can keep your passport. So I always feel Who want to go next? Jen, well, you know what? Jodi, won't you go? Because you have a white.
Mm.
She's actually
Take
there.
yourself off mute.
She keeps freezing.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm not is because there's a lot of background noise here, just
Oh,
because
okay.
it's a lively household. So I'm trying to like integrate. Okay. So my wine, I'm taking my hair down. Okay, I'm gonna do it like I would normally do it in a tasting. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to see the color. We've got like a very pale straw color with just a medium minus concentration going out to a true watery white rim, right? Just a very little bit of color here. It is on the nose, it is rambunctious. Like this is jumping out of the glass and trying to get you to play a game of tag with it. Like this is good stuff right here. The nose on this is one of those wines that legitimately, it took me 20 minutes to taste it because I just wanted my face in the glass. So I'm gonna keep it here while I talk to you. This is, you know when you go to Europe and you walk by a man or woman and they've got this like herbaceous, beautiful, crisp cologne that you just barely get. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, that person's European because that cologne is legitimate. Like somebody was making that in 1875. Like it, you know, someone's grandfather brought this recipe over. Full fruit. We've got herbs and we've got ripe and underripe fruit. So let me start with that. It's green. We've got chervil, which kind of tastes like licorice. A lot of people say that in tastings, but they don't know what the hell it tastes like. It tastes like licorice. A little bit of tarragon-y too. It's like you go to someone's house and they're making you the most beautiful butter poached white fish with a bunch of fresh herbs from the garden on it. You want this with it because that's what it smells like. We've got peach, we've got pear, both ripe and underripe, but like crunchy. Like the peach needs another day, but it's still so delicious you want to eat it. That's what we're smelling right here. We've got a little bit of like a tiny bit of beeswax, not enough to like turn you off to it. Green. Grass, bright. The smell alone makes your mouth water. This doesn't smell like oak. This smells like stainless steel. Like all you're getting is bright fruit, green, and it smells like sunshine, but not in a slutty way, not pejorative slutty. I'm gonna taste it and I'm gonna keep going.
Please.
The wine has medium plus acidity. It is medium bodied and it starts off bright and crisp, and the acidity just literally makes you want a bite of food or more wine. And this is, I picked this variety. I'm gonna digress a little bit. I picked this wine because I only like 5 examples in Napa Valley. And I'm also gonna say that that's ridiculous that I say that. This is a variety that, you know, you start off with and you're like, oh, this is my favorite. And then as you go through your wine career, you change. It's like the first time you got drunk, you didn't go right for Elay Scotch, right? You went for Malibu and pineapple juice, right? So sometimes you have to revisit those things and see the joy in them. And that's how you relate to people. So I picked this variety because I was so impressed with it, and it had been a long time since I'd been really impressed with it, probably because I got a little snotty, quite honestly. And that's what we want to fight against as sommeliers and as people in wine. It's not about being snotty. That's why people don't want a sommelier to come to their table. So I had this one and I literally put my face in the glass. This is a new release of this. This is I don't think I gave you the vintage because I wasn't sure I could get it, but I did yesterday, 2018. It is bright, it is crisp, it is vivacious. I want this with, do you guys know the cheese Fleur Vert? It's like a goat cheese and they roll it in like lavender blossoms and rosemary. It's ridiculous.
I do know
It's
that one.
I've had that before.
bright and chalky and delicious.
I didn't know the name, but I knew that. I know that one.
Yes.
Is it from Napa or what's from?
That cheese. So
I think
the wine is from Napa. Fleur Vert is, you know what? I don't even know. I didn't do my research on that because I had it. Of course they do, because Cowgirl Creamery is my
Yeah.
girlfriend. So
Yeah.
I'm
I've changed
talking
it
about
up.
your
See?
wine. Your
Okay.
wine.
So now,
Yeah.
Yeah, the wines from Napa.
my wine is from Napa. So let's talk about, let me finish it. It's got a medium body, and although it's bright and crisp on the finish, it levels out a little bit. It doesn't give me oak. It just gives me the tiniest bit of creaminess. And I mean, that's what I'm looking for in my whites. If I find it, throw it in the trash. Just kidding. I would make a sauce with it. But it just gives you like it mellows out. It's not so aggressive that you're like, I can't drink another glass of this because it's just aggressive. It levels out with a tiny bit of creaminess, but that might be the grape variety. It is. It is. Okay, so what do we have here? Anybody? Any
Jodi,
guesses? Any questions?
Let me do a rundown. So we have pale straw color because it's freezing a light on our end, so some people may not see
We
it.
didn't
So
get to
just
see
give
the
me-
color really.
There we go. Okay.
It's
Pale
pretty clear.
straw.
Star
Then
bright.
you have jumping out the glass as a descriptor for aroma, herbaceous, crisp perfume like European women.
And men.
I'm the commentator, so you know. What else we got here? Tarragon, Charleston, peach, underripe and ripe fruit, beeswax. We have grassy notes, sunshine but not abrasive, and medium plus acidity, medium body. 2018 pairing is goat cheese with, it sounds like herbs of Provence wrapped around, I'm sure, and then creaminess.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything sounds like Sauvignon Blanc,
I
except
have
for,
one more thing.
except for the waxiness.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Everything it was Sauvignon Blanc completely, except
Okay,
for the
Fumé
so
blanc.
I'm gonna follow-up question. So follow-up question to that. What is traditionally paired with Sauvignon Blanc
cheese,
in
like goat cheese.
Bordeaux to give it a little bit of waxiness?
Simeon.
No, grapes, waxiness and creaminess.
Simeon.
That's exactly right. So this grape, this wine is 98% Sauvignon Blanc and 2% Semillon.
Boom.
Can I talk about it?
Yeah.
Let's see it. And then make
So
sure you
it's
hold
Sauvignon Blanc, not Fumé Blanc,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah, she said stainless steel.
Okay.
The and Jodi, make sure you hold it there for a second because
can't
your
see.
camera
Yeah,
need
but
time
also
to
that
Oh
was-
yeah, an oldie but goodie. Oh yeah. Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Mhm.
I haven't had that in ages.
Okay. Okay, so
Got
listen, I just moved
Go on with your bad
to Spring
self.
Mountain. I am living in the middle of the Marsden family vineyards on the very top of one area of Spring Mountain. And
I
so
love Marston
I'm
wine.
such a fan of the old Spring Mountain cabs, the old Elevettes.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too. So Spring Mountain's been around since 1973. It is literally the best tour I've ever taken. The director of DTC took me on a 4-hour tour. This place has 3 abandoned houses on it. There was 90 acres of goblet, like goblet vines, like just like head trained that they just turned over and finished turning on to cane pruned. He showed me in this military grade vehicle, there are 2 World War II bunkers on the property that the American government built there in case the Japanese took San Francisco. This place is full of history.
Oh, wow.
The
Wow.
wines are beautiful. The place is haunting. And if you're old enough to remember Falcon Crest,
Yes.
the beginning house at Falcon Crest
I've heard of it.
is Spring
I've heard
Mountain. A guy started it. The guy's name was Tiburcio. He was sleeping with Lily Langtree from Larkmead. They were best friends with the Behringer brothers. That's why the Los Hermanos cuvee happened. The history in this place is palpable. The wines are stupid delicious.
Yeah,
The
they
end.
are.
So we get not only a description in the history, we get the National Enquirer of Napa Valley.
You know, girl, and I had pictures too, but we're shortening for time.
I have pictures too. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna save you for last because we know you're gonna do your own wine. And I think even though you said you have a surprise for me, you do have a red, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
but
so
it's
we'll
not
leave.
what I had previously told you because for some reason I don't have a bottle at my house. Not really sure how that happened.
When the winemaker don't have a bottle. This happened last week with
That's how you
Niziki
know it's
in
one of
South
my-
Africa. She's like,
Right.
I don't have any wine. But the one I was started drinking 2 days ago, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're the winemaker. So Filipe, you wanna go with yours?
Yeah, sure.
Remember, don't show us the label.
Yeah.
Don't.
Right. So I have a nice red one from Mendocino County. It's a beautiful dark purple color. On the nose, you can feel a lot of plums and blackberries. On the palate, you can feel the berries again. A bit of vanilla, just slightly. Good minerality, most likely from the rocky soils.
Okay.
And the thing that I like about this wine is the long finale, the finishing. You can still feel it in your teeth for a few seconds. And that's the kind of wine that I like it, with long finishings. I think this wine would pair very well with the roast lamb. Well, at least that's what I'm counting on tomorrow for Easter. But I'm pretty sure it would go also with the boiled cheese. So I'm pretty sure you already noticed. I'm gonna tell you a little later what's the producer, but I give you some tips. I'm pretty sure that you already find.
Before you go there, let us know about the body, the tannin level.
Yeah, it's a full body. Forgot to mention that. It's a good structure. That's why it's gonna be good with the roast meat tomorrow.
And the alcohol level?
14.5.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Okay.
Very bold.
And what about the tannin? What about the tannin on it?
The tannins are medium. It has been in oak for a few months, 8 months.
8 months.
8 months only. So the tannins are a bit round now, not that aggressive. It's a
The acid was not what?
2015, I think I mentioned.
What's acid?
Sorry?
What's acidity?
Acidity is medium. Yeah.
All right, so we have Mendocino, plums, black fruit, blackberries, long finish, medium acid, medium tannins, full body alcohol, 14.5. The pairing is roast lamb. You said you want to say something else?
I can add that just a bad reputation. It's a few years ago.
I already figured it out,
Okay,
but I'm not gonna go. Somebody else go.
I can't go because I know.
Well, Mendocino, it's obviously not Pinot Noir. But just thinking about the varietals that are grown in Mendocino, we've got Merlot, we have Cab, we have Syrah. There's some Rhone varietals and Italian varietals as well that are coming out of that region. I actually want to say Merlot is what I want to say.
Okay, one vote for Merlot.
Yeah.
Jen?
With the lamb pairing and the medium acidity, medium kind of body, I wanted to go with a Syrah.
Syrah? Julie?
Yeah, I did that, but then he said that the alcohol was 14.5, and he said that he goes, and then and Merlot has a capacity to get that, and then he said the acidity was not so high because it would be Cabernet. Syrah would have a higher acidity, and
Right.
so would and so that's why I was going Syrah it wouldn't be Syrah, and I thought initially Cabernet maybe that, but then because it was he was showing black fruits, but Cabernet would also have a high acidity, so that's why I was going back to Merlot.
Yeah.
Are there 2 for Merlot, 1 for Syrah? Jodi.
I have one. Grenache or Charbonneau?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jodi. All right, Filipe.
Well, I mentioned that he had a bad reputation a few years ago, and it's really a Zinfandel.
Oh,
You
Thought
know,
it could be old back then.
let me
Bring
bring
the
it
label
up
up.
some.
it's a 2015 Vintage Reserve from Canada.
Oh,
It's actually 80% Zinfandel, 13% Petit Syrah.
Syrah.
And as I mentioned, yeah, it's coming back. Zinfandel, it has a bad reputation, but now it's coming back. We are seeing some nice Zinfandels, and this is one that I enjoyed last year in San Francisco, and I bought a few bottles with me.
Very cool.
Well, that's
I
where
didn't realize that they
we're
were
getting the tannins from,
producing,
that little bit of
Zin
Petit
from
Syrah.
Mendocino. Yeah.
Me neither. But
Yeah,
that
I
makes
didn't-
sense. You got a cooler climate, right? So
Yeah.
that's going to help the acidity. And then the Petit Syrah for structure. That's where you're getting your tannins from. That makes
Right.
sense. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, for my Easter Sunday dish, I hope it goes with rosé because it's the season for it. So I started, as you saw throughout this, taking notes immediately so I wouldn't take up too much time. Now I feel like Jodi put me to the test, so let me go in order. We have salmon pink on color. I think everybody
wow.
can catch that, right?
Yeah.
Sonoma Coast as well. White peach on the nose.
Hmm.
There's a end note of like a walnut characteristic that come from it. The year is, I am jumping around, but 2017, just to give you some ideas. Floral, more like lilies, but then on the finish, like when you smell, it's almost like you smell it twice. It's like fruit, and then when you pull away, it has this more floral complexity that ends up being like lilies and even a bit of like orange peel. I confirmed it on palate already, but dried apricot, more walnut, and then the peach goes from being under-ripened to even more ripe when you put it when on a palate.
What's the sweetness level?
I would say if there's any residual sugar is less
No, I mean
than
dry,
less
medium?
than 3, less than 3.
No, I mean,
Sorry.
it's dry. Is it off dry? Is it
Yeah, I'm saying it's definitely dry.
Okay.
Yeah. Any sweetness is going to be from any residuals from the skin contact, really. Did I say the alcohol? I don't even know where it's at. 2017. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know. Because the alcohol is for a rosé, it has a kick.
13.5.
Probably. I'm still looking. Oh no, 14.5. I was like,
13.5.
you know what's so funny? I kept that's my first time checking for it. It's like tiny on the label. And it's crazy because I kept saying, this got me breathing a little hard. That must be that Corona.
Let me lift it up again so I can see color.
Have a guess.
Yeah.
Acid balanced. I would say medium for sure. Even I was see from the alcohol, the body is way more than I would expect from a rosé. This ain't your girlfriend next door Provence style rosé. This is definitely.
And it's 2017, correct?
And it's 3-year-old rosé. And like I said, for my Easter pairing, I'm making salmon. So I'm doing a full fillet, garlic and herbs. So this is going to be, a little. My version. I keep it simple here. If I had a grill, I'll put that baby right on a grill. This would be perfect. So,
got a fire escape?
You know what's so funny? I should show you a picture. I got a terrace, and the thing is under construction, which I'm pissed off. Yes, I know. To be locked in your house and your terrace is under construction is kind of crazy. Odds of that. All right, guys.
Okay,
Any other questions on it?
I have a guess.
go ahead.
Have a guess on the grape?
Yeah, I think it's the Sommelier Rosé of Grenache because it's orangey and Grenache Rosé can be like really salmony in color. And then the kind of citrus that you were saying, I see that in Grenache. And alcohol, like Grenache can get really hot really quickly. The sugar can spike, especially in the California sun. So that's my guess.
Yeah, it's definitely coming off, say, the difference between if you was blind tasting, eating a slice of orange versus a tangerine. This is like a baby halo in a glass almost. It's coming off those little.
Because it's 17 and because all rosés of Pinot Noir are not created equal, I am going to say rosé of Pinot Noir. Although I like your idea, Jen, of Grenache as well. I'm just trying to think in that region who produces one as well.
And where is it from Napa as well?
Sonoma Coast.
Sonoma Coast.
I missed the Sonoma Coast part. I might be rethinking.
Yeah, Sonoma Coast. So, because as I was looking at the color and you were doing the descriptors, it reminded me, and I don't think that there's any more around right now, of the CEP Rosé of Pinot Noir. Those are definitely nuances of the CEP.
And that wine is delicious.
It really is.
Yep.
And it's got those kind of peachy and citrus notes. My only thing is looking at the color, it's darker than it would be even with a little bit of the age on it.
Okay.
So
Filipe, Jodi, Julie.
I'm actually think Bonnie Doon makes a rosé that's kind of like that. So I'm trying to figure out what the cepage is because I think I've had that before, but I'm not entirely sure. Because I was thinking of something, but I don't know if I think that's further south.
yeah.
I don't know.
This is cigar volant is what you're thinking of, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because they make something kind of like funky and that like that, but it's further south. As far as I mean, it wouldn't be Pinot because it's too salmony, and I would never get peach from that. I would, you know what I would say though, it would be kind of fun is like maybe some white Rhone varietals that they maybe like put skin contact with a little bit, so it gets that kind of, and then it's got that oxidative kind of thing. Maybe it's actually is it white? Is it like orangey or is it really pale? Is it
The
like
color?
Yeah,
the color is very orange.
It's orangey.
So then I would maybe say like maybe it's like like white Rhone kind of thing, because that's what kind of would get some of that peachiness, because the peach is the thing that's throwing me off.
Trying to see if I can do this.
And it would be orange.
There you go. How does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it would be orange, not red.
I'm gonna say that it is. I'm gonna actually name a producer, which is ridiculous, and you should never do that.
Right.
But it kind of reminds me of something that I had that I really loved. Now, here's the thing: you've got to put some game theory on this. So Cha organized the group, and she saw all the wines, right? So we already have 2 Pinot Noirs. So it's probably not that, okay?
Right.
No. Don't do this. Don't do this.
And orange. I'm doing this. No, we're doing it. You asked me to be on here. I'm doing the thing I know how to do. I'm going to be real witchy with it. So
Witchy.
you probably wouldn't have picked a rosé Pinot Noir, which would be the first. So I think it's probably like a Rhone varietal, but I think it's probably like, I'm going to say Lioco. I'm going to say it's Lioco, and I'm going to say it's like a Carignan. They have that beautiful Carignan rosé that they have that ages beautifully. What's it called? It's the name of a pot plant. It's I can't remember.
Now see, I didn't even know that.
I think
I can't remember.
I think it's like a Carignan. I think it's like a Carignan, Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, something. That's it. I'm just throwing it out there because I'm not testing right now until July. So here we are.
What is it?
First, let me say this. I'm broke. I'm taking wines from my stash.
You know what? I was always thinking that it might be Gallo.
Oh, come on. Okay, well, let's go.
Or Chateau Diane, because that's what you can get from the grocery at the bodega.
That's just going on a bodega. Now we really need the drum. So it's funny that you said this. So I'm saying this because I worked and sold these wines. And so I'm in my mother's house quarantined. So she has some of the wines that I used to sell when I was an ambassador for Deloach.
Oh, wow. That's
and so
another
Deloach had I remember, I don't know, because obviously this is a few years ago, so that's why it's in 2017. I'm sure they don't even have this. There was less than 300 cases of this rosé, Pinot Noir, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, Deloach Pinot Noir. So, and this was only sold through the ambassadors. You couldn't buy it you couldn't get it any other way. So this was a special, even has the special seal, the curated collection for ambassadors. And so this was one of the wines that my mom just continued to buy off of me. Like, yes, keep sending me cases of that rosé. Make sure the rosé is in my case. And so I'm here with her selection mixed with my own now. And so I've seen this bad boy. I said, I'm gonna throw out that nice Deloach. Shout out to one of the, grandfathers of Sonoma.
Yeah.
If you don't know about them, but they now have they get bought out by WSET, so a much larger, flamboyant French family who is extended their brand to us here, whether it's in the East Coast, etc. But yeah, I just think it's classic when you think of California or Sonoma Coast. I only know I'm almost like a kind of a Tupperware seller, a Mary Kay version of them when I had them. So they fed us all the things they wanted us to know, but I didn't really see it too much when I started working in restaurants or at the wine shops. I've maybe seen it once at one wine shop, any Deloach, but obviously my time working with them as an ambassador, while I still had my full-time job, I'm doing engineering. All I had was Deloach all the time. They had the special events, and so anything that was different, that stuck out to me, I made sure that we kind of cellared, if you want to say, by sending it to my mother's house. So we had some that we can come back to. So I put in this bad boy up for, or two of them, for Easter tomorrow for our filleted salmon pairing. So.
Perfect.
So I like aged rosé.
Me too.
I do.
Okay, here we go.
I do. I do very much so. All the nuances that we don't get when it's fresh, bright, and vivacious.
And 14.5% alcohol. Can we talk about that?
Well, yeah, for some. And that minerality that comes through, which is great, as well.
Yeah.
But there's fruit, but we don't get all the fruit and the tertiary notes until it gets some age. And some are just gorgeous and can just carry a meal.
Yeah. When I worked for He Who Shall Not Be Mentioned, the big guys, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They'd have these inventory of the big, huge, not magnums, Jeroboams of rosé of Whispering Angel and the other ones like this and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never wanted to keep the inventory because they were just why do we keep it? We want to get rid of it. And so one day they were selling them for $10 for Jeroboams of these stuff. And I was like,
A
okay,
Whispering Angel.
Yeah, I said no, but it was the Gaffé and the other ones,
Right.
the aged ones. It was the
dark
I was
light or whatever, the dark.
Yeah. I just said, hey, listen, I told my client, I'm going to order 10 of these. You can keep one. I'll give it to you for one, but I'm going to pay for, whatever. And I had this big picnic and we're showing up with these big ass guns of rosé. And it was great. It was like a couple years old and it was awesome.
That's one way to make friends. Show up with Jeroboams. just show up. We're here.
Bring the wine.
I can't lift my arms, but we're here.
My people, this is our parting gift to you, So Jen, we are definitely at like the 1 hour and a half mark. And I've definitely kept you all way longer than I supposed to, but that's because we was having way too much fun.
We always have fun.
We always have fun. We always have fun. And, Jodi, you know what? Maybe God made sure that Jodi's Wi-Fi is not good, because if we heard her clearly, it would be a wrap. They want to take me off the air. They'll be like, nah, cancel the show. She can't get no sponsors. I'm trying to get sponsors, Jodi. I can't have you cursing everywhere talking about your titties. So Jen, because it's your wine,
all right.
We want you, go ahead, tell us everything. Tell us about the soil, tell us about the cattle you use,
All right, so I kind of threw in a ringer because as I said before, the one I originally was gonna have, I don't have any at my house.
Color already.
It is a red wine, even though it is very light in color, you can see, but it was 3 weeks on the skins. So that kind of gives you an indication of kind of direction. I gave a hint earlier, like an hour ago, about like varietals that I go with. So think about that. But this is a 2017. I just released the 2019 version of this wine, so I thought it would be fun to kind of revisit where I started from. So on the nose, it is just pure berry sunshine in the glass. Tons of like kind of oversaturated strawberries, when you put a little sugar on them and they start melting and they're just super beautiful and delicious. Definitely some orange zest. There's a little like spice character to it. And then kind of followed up with a little like rose petal, kind of like rose water mist if you have that. Oh, yep. You got it? Or is that a question or you have it?
I got it.
Yeah, I mean, you see my skin glowing, girlfriend. That's that rose water zest.
Yeah. And that kind of runs through the wine. And then, I mean, you can kind of denote from the color, it's light bodied, low alcohol, bright acidity. I call it summer in a glass. That's why I just released it for kind of spring and summer. Great for barbecue because it's got fruit and got structure, but it can also kind of withstand some spicy flavors to it. It's a good aperitif kind of red wine because it is so light bodied. You can kind of start here and move on through your meal. So about 1,300 feet elevation on this wine, organically farmed, granitic soil. So there's definitely like a little bit of a mineral backbone to it as well.
Go ahead, Julie.
Grenache.
Don't say anything.
The reason I say Grenache is roses is a very clear indication of it, and Grenache can be made many different ways. It can come like naturally, stylistically. It's going to come out light this way because it's a very thin skin, but it can be made like darker in like Priorat kind of style depending on how it's made. But that strawberry, that roses, that sort of thing, and then I'm sticking with Grenache.
And it's 100% this grape, right? Single variety, no friends. No friends in the barrel. Okay.
No.
All right, so let me go over this. I have 3 weeks skin contact, berries with sunshine, oversaturated strawberries, orange zest, rose water, light body. Summer red in the glass. Fruit plus structure, good for apero, and it's at 1,300 feet, organic vineyards.
And
12%
usually
alcohol.
Grenache goes really well with like a Grenache sorrel. Like if you go into Washington State between between Washington and Oregon, there's this place that's got a lot of like basaltic river flow, and it goes really well with that, and it brings up that minerality, which kind of helps, and especially since Grenache is usually used for a lot of rosés. So that's where I get this from.
Okay, 2017, and can you tell us your sub-region, Jen, or your, for this one, or whatever you can, give us a location.
The location is Central California.
What? You can't say that. Central California.
The more specific area is actually Madera County.
Ooh,
Madera County?
Uh-huh.
Do you guys
yeah.
know?
You know, it's Movedra.
Okay, Movedra.
It's Moved. And oh gosh, let me think.
This is a Mouved. Then
I don't know if you've actually ever tasted this wine because I sell out of it pretty quick. So I might not have had it when we were in tasting, but I doubled my production for 2019, so I actually have more to share now.
Well, the thing is that
Question?
we tasted
question
some
from Jodi.
wine from Madeira.
Yeah.
You and I did. And I bought some. And it's been long gone.
Yeah.
It's been long gone.
So we have one Grenache,
I have a
we have one
question.
Mouved, and then Jodi. Go ahead, Jodi.
Here's my question. You said you doubled your production. What's the production level right now?
I got 2 tons of it last year, so 140 cases or so. I'm a super tiny production.
Great. And great. So I want to keep asking the questions to try to figure this out.
Yeah,
When you got the 2 tons, you bought them from someone, yes?
I bought them from the vineyard, yeah.
And were they old vine?
Not particularly. Early 2000s.
Okay. So is there a lot of this? Okay, all right. And is the person that you bought it from, do they have a lot of it, or is it a smaller production that they have?
Smaller production.
Kunwa.
Yeah. Because that would
Berta?
be the other.
Okay, all right. So then that means I
Because it's
go as
from
well.
varietals. Yeah.
I'm cheating. I'm looking at your site now that I guessed. I'm like,
Well, she
there's
got
not
enough
gonna
wine.
Sangiovese.
It's a Sangiovese. No.
Well,
Yeah,
because
that's the one she
well-
couldn't find. That's the one she was gonna do.
Well, because, and as I think, because there's also Cinsault, you know,
Yeah.
as well.
That's-
But
That was gonna be
Cinsault-
my guess, so I guess I don't have to say
Yeah,
anything.
But sometimes because Cinsault has floral notes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but looking at the color,
Show it
that's
again.
pretty concentrated
Show us. You
for
gotta
Cinsault.
Yeah.
do your
I don't know.
Right. But then also looking, yeah, I'm gonna say Cinsault. I'm gonna say
Cinsault was my guess, and now I don't have to say anything
Yeah,
because
Cinsault.
Tonya just said everything.
yeah. Yeah. Love
Right.
Cinsault.
What is it?
It's Kunwas. She was right.
Cinsault.
No, it's
Kunwas.
Kunwas.
No.
What is
Jodi's right.
Kunwas?
Jodi's right.
Jodi got it.
Kunwas.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go,
get every-
girl.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me screenshot that. Come back.
There you go. Hey,
Actually, everybody need to get the. Can you get your wines out so I can screenshot everybody?
take yourself off mute. There
Jodi,
you go.
we don't know if we're ever gonna get you. I don't know if we're. Okay, I don't know how I can do both. Can someone else screenshot this? Because my light is off.
I'm doing it.
Are you screenshotting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
Perfect.
That's my 13. And here's my 09.
She's like,
Nice.
get both of my wines in there. No.
I want to taste that now. I want to taste that.
So
Yeah, she
good.
got,
So
I wanna
good.
taste all y'all's wines.
And well, you know, my thing is, since we're in quarantine, I'm gonna always be double fisted. That way I can't touch my face.
Hey.
this is her thing.
Wow.
I'm gonna at least you guys can stay on, but I'm gonna close out just so we can end the YouTube session. So
Okay.
thank you everyone who joined us for this now 1 hour and 45 minutes. We don't care. Up. Now Julie's waiting for her date to come in. She done ordered one in on Uber Eats, you know.
No, there's no date. I'm quarantined.
She said, no, I'm
Locked up.
quarantined.
Yeah.
Stay your ass home. That's what it is.
Locked
Yes.
up.
And I'm starving now with all
And
this.
now
wine.
Filipe is starving and by Haga, and we got everybody else about to start their day. So thank you, my girls from California who tuned in. You
California.
guys, big love. Thanks for joining us session. This was so fun.
This was
And,
so much fun.
I'm gonna post all the wines because this was the first time that I kind of
Just
retracted
fun.
from that. So I'm gonna post everybody's wine. So Jen, you gotta send me the update of the one you have so I can put it on the website. If you can, the idea in the spirit of this is still connecting, whether you live alone, whether with other people, this is what we would normally do in a group if we were all in front of each other, tasting with each other, blind tasting, learning. I've never had that grape before. So now I gotta have Jen's wine
Exactly.
and I have to have this grape. So to make the experience about peer education is still uniting underneath these circumstances. And we continue to keep this going. So thanks for sticking around or checking out our 4th week. And support your local somm, support your local winemaker, support your local wine shop or pop-up wine shop via restaurants that's out there. Let's keep the industry thriving, you know, even under these circumstances. So
yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And until next week.
Bye.
Ciao.